welcome back to the Reese's Writing YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be doing a recap of March, what I read, what I watched, film-wise. I'm not going to say TV because it was Severance, so it'll be films and books, and that's the plan. Let's just get into it, So I started off by reading Remarkably Bright Creatures. This is was it? Yeah, it was. This is a book club book that I'm doing. I'm doing a book club, and this is about a old woman that her husband's died, and now she's a night cleaner at an aquarium in sort of Washington state area, and she meets an octopus that is very intelligent, and she becomes friends with it, and it's about her sort of journeying. I don't know, because I didn't finish it. I DNF'd it probably about halfway through, not even halfway through, maybe 100 pages in. I just realised this wasn't really going to go anywhere that I was excited for. I didn't really care about any of the characters. I thought the octopus stuff was pretty good, but they were very small, like very shallow philosophical thoughts about aquariums and the visitors, which were pretty interesting. Like, I don't know, they were quite interesting to read, and like thumbprints, very stoic sort of look upon life. I gave up 100 pages odd in, and I will not go back to it, really. I have no time for that shit. So, yeah, I'd probably give it 1.5 stars for what I did. Oh, fuck. And then I got to about halfway through Ships of Merior by Janny Wirtz. This is the second book in the Wars of Light and Shadow fantasy, big fantasy epic. I think there's 7 books and maybe more, with novellas and whatnot, and it's about 2 brothers. One is sort of adopted, the other one isn't, and it's about them fighting rivalries and getting onto the dark side of magic and the light side of magic, or like the sort of political intrigue of these different magicians or different wizards, and the whole magic system is really cool. I liked this. It focused on some characters. I think his name is Dakar, who was my favourite in the first book. He was an interesting character, so I'm glad that it sort of pretty much focuses on him in this book, from the amount that I read, and I think I was getting more interested when I finished it. About halfway through, it was getting into some good, maybe some fighting or something, which is good to see. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it in April. And then I went on to A Dream of Wessex by Christopher Priest. This is my second Christopher Priest that I've read. The previous one was The Glamour. I did a review of it. You can watch it. It's not a great... I think it's my very first video on this YouTube channel. It's not great. I would definitely have done it differently. I don't know if I would have done any spoilers, because I think the main point of the book is the twists and turns that happen and the unambiguousness of it all. Anyway, Dream of Wessex is amazing as well. This is about a scientist group that have created this machine that can reflect a future, the 22nd century Wessex, where it's almost become its own country, its own sort of place, where a lot of tourist stuff happens, and there's a big wave that comes about every night. Julia, I think we follow mainly Julia, who is a scientist in this, as she goes throughout this experiment, along with some pretty bad relationships. I think Christopher Priest is quite known for his toxic relationships and his just horrible sounding vice grips that some of these men have over these women, like really bad stuff, different from, you know, stuff you hear about in other science fiction books that I've read anyway. Is a lot more realist or harsh look on relationships, but also very dreamy when it comes to the ones they sort of, what in this book anyway, that they want to be a part of. Is a very like romantic look on relationships that they have with the person, but they have to get rid of this guy who's, you know, being a real piece of shit, but they have a real grasp on them for some reason. Christopher Priest loves to explore that idea, and it's the same with the Glamour, and it's the same with A Dream of Wessex, and I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the world. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. It's not completely out there in like planets and things, and the whole inconspicuous. Is this the future? Is this a present? Are they actually in the future? Are they actually just you know, in their own mind? They're dreaming it almost. And I think, you know, with Nolan doing The Prestige, I can definitely see influences from The Dream of Essex on things like Inception. Big influence, I would say. I may be wrong. I'm sure Nolan has other influences about dreams, but I see this a lot in Inception. And yeah, really good book, and highly recommend you go read it. And this is the first one I actually finished in the month, and I would give it 4.5 stars. I think it's a really good book, quite short as well, and yeah, good stuff. Then I went on to another good book. This is the Thing Itself by Adam Roberts. This is my first Adam Roberts book, and it did not disappoint. It's a really good book. Look on philosophy and the idea of other realms. It's discover. It's like a exploration on what if we are only looking at the world through our perspective, through our mind, through our intelligence, through our perception of things. What if we find a way to get through that and find the thing itself, the sort of beyond our perception look. I think the main person is Immanuel Kant, who does who brought this to people's attention, brought this like idea into philosophy and ethics and science, the idea of reason, or looking past reason and rational to a completely different thing. And what if beyond there is something that is out there, always there around us? It's very sort of God, and like, what if God is there all around us, we just can't see him, he's beyond our perception? There's sort of a scientific look on God, and you know, what if we just can't see God, or an alien, for example. I think that's something it explores. This book travels through different times. It's almost sort of anthology-esque. It bounces through different time zones. It goes from the present to sort of 80s, I think, to back in the early 1900s. It goes into the near future to the big time future, and they all have different characters that he really brings to life in quite small amount of time, with like small pretty big chapters, but they're really well developed as sort of characters. They have their own reason for being explored through this thing itself, and how it changes people, how it changes culture and reality. What characters POV, it's like, from the first person point of view, which is a very modern thing. I've noticed a lot of modern books write in the first person. I've done it before, and yeah, I would say it's a very modern book. There's a lot of modern things that he challenges, and he discovers like AI, and I think pronouns. I don't know if this is a thing that I see, but I think pronouns are quite the contentious thing, or they aren't sure what to do, and like it shouldn't really make much of a difference. But I think authors that I've seen have gone out of their way to put in pronouns like he, she. Like, just pick one. It's your character. Pick them. Do what you want with the character. It doesn't, it shouldn't. I know it's a thing that's becoming, it's a sort of topic that has been around news and been discussed and stuff, but I think that they should just pick one. I think, like, in my opinion, it shouldn't get in the way of writing. So yeah, he discovers, he explores AI and sort of modern life. It's a very enjoyable read. It's a bit of a chase. It has sort of structure that is very modern in a way, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading it, and I'm looking forward to reading more Adam Roberts. And I'll give the thing itself 4 stars, maybe 4.5. I don't know. I'll give it 4. And those are the books. I didn't read too much. I was halfway through one. Didn't finish one. So yeah, we'll go on to the films. So I started off with Mickey 17. I did a review of it, a whole video about Bong Joon-ho's films and ranked them, and I ranked and reviewed Mickey 17. I think it's his worst. It's my least favorite film of his. I think it's messy and doesn't quite know what it's trying to go for. And it really got in the way of it for me, got in the way of what he was trying to do. I think some of it's really interesting, like the ideas of clonings and what if 2 clones are together, and that sort of stuff is quite interesting. But all in all, the film in general, I thought felt boring and muddled and confusing, and it really got in the way. Maybe if I watched it again, I would enjoy it for what it is more, maybe. But yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars. And then I watched The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson. This is about a man who's just come out of the army after World War II is finished, and he struggles with alcoholism and drugs, and like he's a sex addict, and he does crimes, and he's just struggling to find his way, and he sort of passes out and then comes back, and he's on a ship being looked after by almost sort of a fictional version of Scientology, and it's discovering exploring those ideas of Scientology, and what it can change about people. I think the characters are really well done. Joaquin, although some of his stuff is kind of weird just because of the way Joaquin does it, I think his character's very well studied. He transforms and journeys, but not too much. Like, he doesn't overtly change too much, but he and it just is a very like up and down roller coaster of a character that he changes, but he ultimately struggles to come to terms with some of the teachings and some of the ideas, and they really try to get him to, get him to join their cult. And Philip Seymour Hoffman's amazing as always. Amy Adams is really good as well as this wife who's secretly sort of working her way through politically and like managing everything behind the scenes in a really interesting and small way, but in such an impactful way. This is an amazing film, and it made me want to watch more Paul Thomas Anderson. I watched Let There Be Blood before this, and I thought that was amazing as well. And I would love to probably watch that again because it's just an amazing film. I would give The Master 5 stars because it is fantastic. And then I watched Opus. This is a new thriller-esque thing about a sort of journalist that gets an invitation to this pop stars, this pop star who's gone into hiding, and then he's all of a sudden come back out of nowhere. He was massive when he was going about doing his stuff, and then he's come back and everyone's sort of hyped up, and this journalist gets an invite. I don't know why, you don't know why she gets it, but she journeys to this commune basically where this pop star has been working his way around and teaching people, and they've almost come to love him as a god. And it's about them journaling. This bizarre cult is very sort of Midsommar. Is trying to be Midsommar, but without the horror. It's almost like trying to almost be like a PG version of Midsommar. I think John Malkovich is amazing. Like, he does some crazy stuff in this that's just great. I love John Malkovich. He looks like he's just having so much fun with everything in this film, and it's just an amazing character for him to be in. You should watch it just to see John Malkovich be John Malkovich. But the plot in itself is very sort of by the books, sort of thriller that's sort of become quite mainstream, well known, like this idea of something's not quite right in this place, and it slowly grows and grows, and then hits a point where the guy's just like, I gotta get out of it, and that's what happens. And it was pretty good. It was enjoyable, and I think John Malkovich gave it an extra half star just for being John Malkovich. Maybe probably carried this whole thing. I'd give it 3 stars. And then I went on to another Paul Thomas Anderson film, Phantom Thread, which is about this man who is a fashion designer. It is Daniel Day-Lewis, who's an amazing actor. He was in There Will Be Blood, and he was amazing in that. And he's amazing in this as well. He does a really good job of this sort of understated, like, man who you don't quite know what makes him tick, but he has these sort of weird quirks that sort of pop up every now and then. He's quite a bizarre person, but in an understated, real kind of way, I think. He wants to explore life or explore things, but also he wants to control people. He's hugely controlling. He wants his whole world regimented and clean and precise. And this girl that he sort of comes across, he falls in love with and sort of stirs things around and like moves his regiment and his plans, and she really tries to get her sort of individuality in there. And that's a sort of big thing, is that individuality is sort of explored in this film, and what makes people tick, what makes them want to risk everything, risk their lives for love, and or someone who can make them really feel alive. I think that's sort of probably the main feeling behind this whole film. I think at points I was like, how are they still together? It's pretty crazy, the stuff they go through, and the stuff she puts him through. But he's like, more. I need more. It's quite bizarre. But yeah, I would give it 4 stars. But it's a really good film, nonetheless. And then I watched a documentary called Two Strangers Trying Not to Kill Each Other. This is a documentary about 2 sort of creatives that are in a relationship, and it's about their woes, their problems growing older. And I think this really shows in such a interesting way, like an impressively interesting way, the differences between the 2 people that have come together in this relationship that people would say shouldn't really happen, shouldn't exist, but they come together through love of art and love of romance. And it's sort of showing this, like, the peaks and troughs of their relationship as they reach this pinnacle of, are they on the way out? Are they gonna die? And I think it really shows their differences in opinions and thoughts of this idea of death, and like thinking about death, and it also shows their personalities, how different their personalities are, how he's much more sort of go out there and do things and full force. Like it's kind of all about him, but he's a very sort of it is all about him, and like being more like how this impacts him or experiences through him. It's about how she struggles with that, how she struggles to be in his shadow. And it's a really moving portrait of relationships, and like how they're not all they're cracked up to be, and how creativity can come and go, and people struggle to be creative, and or people can just be creative and just are who they are. And like some people just struggle through life, and some people seem like they cruise through it. Yeah, it's a really interesting documentary. It's like a fly on the wall, like exploration of these 2 and their weird and wonderful life. Yeah, it's a good documentary. I'd give it 4 stars. I think it was bold, but it wasn't too bold. It didn't go completely out there that made me go, wow, this is really great. It was a bit solid, but some really cool scenes. There was a scene with one character over here, one character over there, talking in a gallery, and they sort of switch between the mics. So like you would hear one conversation where the woman was speaking, and another conversation where the husband is speaking, and it sort of shows how different their conversations are with just random strangers. And yeah, really interesting stuff. I did a video about The Beast and the End. Did I say? Yeah. The Beast and the End on Tuesday. And yeah, you should go watch it. But I give The Beast 3.5 stars. It's a really good French film. It's bizarre, but it has a really good style, or like something just a bit odd about it all. And then The End by Joshua Oppenheimer, I'd give 5 stars because it's great. It's a musical about the end of the world, and it's just great. The characters are great. They all have this like this shallow feel to them at the beginning, but it slowly unravels and cracks and becomes more. Everyone becomes more. They develop and they create this really interesting, dynamic film. And then I finished it off. I finished off with Infinity Pool, Brandon Cronenberg, and it's about this couple that go to this strange island, and they get into trouble. They run over a guy with these 2 people they've sort of come across. They've found and they've taken a liking to, but they're a bit weird. And then the guy gets into trouble. His partner doesn't, and a way of getting around death, being killed by the guy he ran over son. They create a copy of him and kill him instead. And yeah, it's about their journeys through it, the weird and wonderful thing. I feel like this film was good. It had some interesting ideas. It didn't fully flesh them out. It didn't fully flesh the possibilities that this idea of cloning had. And instead focused on, what if we can do whatever the fuck we want to and get away with it and have massive orgies. And yeah, it felt like something I would watch on Sky Movies just because it's on. And I'd be like, whoa, I did not expect penis on screen, but here we are. There it is. Fully fledged penis. Anyway, that is the films that I watched in March. Have you watched any of those films? What did you think of them? Have you read any of those books? What did you think of them? Welcome to April, guys. We're in spring. Spring has sprung. And yeah, let me know what you thought. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Bye-bye.